to our daily blog again on this Tuesday. Today's title is A Leap of Trust, as we continue to look for God in the silence. And it was due to be Kirsty sharing the blog today, but unfortunately she's poorly. So I'm afraid you got me again for a second day. Behind me is a picture. We looked at this briefly yesterday. It's a famous Russian icon called, based on a picture called the Christ Pantocrator. I can't say it now, Pantocrator. And this particular image of Jesus with his hand held like this in blessing goes right the way back to the 550s, and a famous first painting of this image on a monastery called St. Catherine's on Mount Sinai. And of course, this is how perhaps we would love to see Jesus, blessing the world, blessing our own individual lives, blessing the lives of those we pray for, blessing the church, blessing the communities in which we live. But finding him, as we looked at yesterday, he's a lion, not a pussycat. There's a story that Philip Yancey uses in his book about looking for making a leap of trust, where he tells the story of a friend of his called Carl. Carl is someone who used to be a forces chaplain in the United States, so a very active gentleman, out doing many things, both as part of his work working in the US Air Force, and also personally in his own personal life doing many sports. And Carl had a pedal bike accident which left him paralysed from the chest down, so he could use his arms, but the rest of his body was paralysed. And of course, Carl's life changed out of all recognition, and after many months of help and support through doctors and surgeons, Carl spent a lot of time in his bed trying to come to terms mentally and emotionally with all that had happened to him, as well as physically. And he had a picture on his wall of this picture. How was God blessing him in all that he was going through? The two things seem to be so different. This picture speaks of a God of success, a God of loving you when you're able to do all the things that God would want you to do. And yet here was this gentleman called Carl, physically, emotionally, and indeed almost spiritually paralysed. Carl then was given a second picture by a friend of his, another Russian icon. This time it was of Jesus' baptism and how that's depicted in Russian art. And I've got it here on a picture for you. And he held these two pictures together. The one behind me, speaking of a God in heaven blessing you, Jesus in heaven. But then also this picture. And if you notice, one of the things that's almost common throughout all the images of Jesus at his baptism in art is that Jesus is fully immersed in the water. I hope you can see that. The water actually comes up over his head. I know in the Anglican Church, for instance, we have a font and we pour water on a baby's head. We had a wonderful baptism on Sunday. But in the traditional Russian art, and also in many traditions within the church, you might have a pool of baptism where you completely submerge yourself in the water, reenacting what happened to Jesus. Why is this important, and how does it fit in to what we're talking about today? Well, the idea within Russian art is that Jesus, coming from heaven, fully embraces our humanity, is totally immersed in our humanity and in creation, holding nothing back from who we are and all that we go through. He doesn't just put his foot in the water of humanity. He is completely immersed and covered in the water of humanity. And that helps us perhaps, and it helped Carl in his journey to see that where was Jesus and his blessing in his struggle? Well, Jesus was totally immersed in Carl's life. He didn't hold anything back from walking alongside Carl. He was totally part of Carl's hurt and pain, even his paralysis. And as Carl came to terms with this, he realised that God was not then someone who was there for the good times or there at a distance. Jesus was right next to him, but it was not necessarily the Jesus that he'd always known. This was a Jesus who was totally, almost invisible because he was so close. He was right up close to Carl and to all that he was going through. And maybe that's true for us when we try to make this leap of trust. We want the Jesus that's behind me, the Jesus that will help for the hand of blessing. But perhaps the Jesus that we discover, especially in times of struggle and pain and suffering, is actually a Jesus who fully embraces our life as it is. So comes so close that it's as close as our very breath. And indeed, we discover him in a different way to be the same Jesus. These are deep mysteries, my friends. It's not necessarily easy to fully grasp. We're almost reaching for words that are beyond words to try to explain something incredibly powerful about love. But what we do know, perhaps from Jesus' baptism, as well as Jesus across the ages, is that he holds nothing back. And may we trust in that. That's the leap of faith, if you like. When we can't see him, we trust that he loves us, and we trust that he wants to walk with us, even in the darkest of places. So I leave you with the image of the candle before the hand of blessing. And may that hand of Jesus bless you this night and every night, wherever you are, whatever you're going through, this and every day. So many people are going through tough times at the moment, and yet Jesus fully immerses himself in who we are and walks with us. And I find that not necessarily what I want, but indeed what I need. Jesus, the hand of blessing. May God bless you. Good night, everyone. Bye for now.